fact that Donald is now afraid to appear on the debate stage, that he doesn't want his record questions, I think that reflects a lack of respect for the men and women of Iowa, that he's unwilling to go to Des Moines and be questioned. And so if Donald is afraid of Megyn Kelly, I would like to invite him on your show to participate in a one-on-one debate between me and Donald, mano a mano.
Ted Cruz on Mark Levin's radio show last night challenging Donald Trump to a one-on-one debate after the Donald announced that he would opt out of tomorrow night's debate on Fox News. You just heard Cruz say if Trump's too scared to take on Megyn Kelly, how can we expect the Donald to take on people like Vladimir Putin? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined via telephone by Congressman Steve King of Iowa. Steve has been very busy crisscrossing his state, joins us tonight from Des Moines. You spent your time on the Cruz bus. You are a Cruz guy. You've endorsed him. So this challenge for a one-on-one debate, is that something that Ted really means?
Well, I can tell you that that proposal came directly out of his head almost immediately when he heard the news that Donald Trump was pulling out and using I'll call it the reason or the excuse that he didn't want to have a debate with Megyn Kelly asking any questions. That looks to me like that's the tantrum that has been thrown by Donald Trump. And so if it is that he's afraid to have a debate with Megyn Kelly debating, or Megyn Kelly, asking the questions, I suspect it has more to do with Ted Cruz than it does Megyn Kelly. We'll find out. If Donald Trump will rise to the challenge, then we'll have a level of confidence that it was Megyn Kelly. If he doesn't rise to the challenge, you can bet at least in a significant part it was Ted Cruz that he didn't want any part of.
So Steve King, you're doubling down. You're calling it a Trump tantrum. And
yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Well, I look at this, and I've been through a lot of debates in my political career, and I've looked across at those panelists and moderators, and I have said to them, can't you just skip? I've had them sit there, those that had called me every name that you can think of when they write their columns, and I still sit down and let them ask me questions as if they're dignified, objective critics. And so here we have Megyn Kelly, who should be at least in part on Donald Trump's side, and they're both from the same city, by the way. So why can't Donald Trump handle Megyn Kelly? And we've also seen the impact of the confrontation between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump in the last debate, where in the first 24 or 36 hours, I think Trump believed he got the better of Ted Cruz. But after the public learned that it was actually Donald Trump's own words of characterizing New York values that Ted Cruz had used, has started to swing back the other way. And I just don't think Donald Trump wants any more of that. And I think he fears that he could lose an opportunity at the nomination during the debate on Thursday night.
It's worth noting you talked about the debates. We all gone through them. You and I every 2 years running for Congress. I had a little different experience that I'll talk about later in our program in the way I see it. But let me turn to what I'm hearing from people on the ground. And again, since you're in the Cruz camp, I expect you to say that you believe your guy is building momentum on the way to victory. Including in that is Tony Perkins of the Family Research Council endorsing Cruz. Does Ted have a solid lock on evangelical voters heading into Monday night's caucuses?
Well, he's certainly in a strong lead among evangelical voters, and it's curious that I just saw Donald Trump a couple, 3 hours ago on the television screen saying that he's in the lead with evangelical voters. There's no chance of that. It's just a shameless assertion. But no, I think that Cruz is very, very solid with evangelical voters. There's no other way to interpret that. His father is a Baptist minister, and his father has been working in this state for the better part of the year. And when you listen to Ted, you know that his voice and his convictions and his faith resonate with our faithful church-going populace here. And so there is momentum, but there's an awful lot of media noise coming out of the Trump camp. And so we have to count on Iowans to be able to discern the truth and be able to come to the caucus and bring their friends and neighbors and do it on principle and values. I mean, this is, I believe, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to give the first-in-the-nation recommendation springboard to New Hampshire to a full-spectrum constitutional Christian conservative that knows what he believes, that was spoon-fed the Constitution and the Bible at the kitchen table, as a little boy, and then he memorized the Constitution and went around Texas debating it.
All right.
So
Now,
we
I
don't
have to
really
ask you this, though, before we only got about 30 seconds, and you've made some strong accusations, Congressman King, against Donald Trump. You said that Donald was buying endorsements in Iowa. Do I have that right?
Well, it wasn't the exact language. I said he had the resources to do all of that, and it's awfully hard to say no to him. And so I will just say that I have a pretty good feel for what's going on here and actually across the country. And when people can't say no to Donald Trump, maybe one day we'll find out the real reason why that is. Some of that just doesn't add up unless you put all of those resources into the equation. It might be money, but it also could be fame or fortune or a future job.
And we will have to leave it there. Steve King, you have our thanks.